The fans chant Smith out as Wanderers crash 6-3 at Peterborough. The result left Wycombe bottom of the league. Alan Smith departed on the last day of September. With the departure of Alan Smith, in came caretaker manager Neil Smiley.
I did the job as though it was mine, and I think if you do any other than do that, then you sell everybody short.
Stepping into the job came John Gregory, the former Aston Villa coach who was to play such a big part in the Wanderers' great escape. He now explains his hopes for the following season.
It won't be easy by any stretch of the imagination. All we need to do really here is improve our away form and continue with our good home form that we've had this year. But I would like to make a serious dent in this division next season at the top end. It's all down to me now. I've had my honeymoon period, that's over.
This is just a taster of the historic 5-goal thrashing of Burnley on a marvellous Tuesday night. See this and all the other goals in the League and Cup for 1996-97.
Shrewsbury's game with Wycombe was put back 24 hours because of the local flower show. Yes, that's true. The police couldn't man both on the same day. And Shrewsbury were blooming when Ian Stevens, 20 goals last season, got his first of this. But the local defence wilted in the face of a Wycombe recovery, and Steve Brown came up smelling of roses with a shot that would have won first prize any day.
Reading have the corner. In it comes Jimmy Quinn. What a great goal. Reading lead by a goal to nil in this Coca-Cola tie. Wodobchek brings it forwards. Oh, he's slipped there. This could let in John Williams. He's away. There's not many men coming in for him. Can he take a shot? He has. It's a goal. Wycombe won. Reading won. John Williams has done it for the Blues.
If you want to see a 1-1 draw, go to watch Wycombe Wanderers. That's the way every one of their games has ended so far this season, so perhaps Gillingham weren't over-worried when David Carroll shot the Wanderers ahead in only 8 minutes. The scoring ended on 34 minutes. Nothing iffy about Onyura's eye of a needle pass, scorer Simon Ratcliffe extending Gillingham's unbeaten start.
And with exactly half an hour gone, Carter's waiting in the middle. Jackson's there too. And Butler, the big man at the back, the big centre-back. Oh, it's gone in! And Bury have the lead.
Blackpool have won twice away from Bloomfield Road but haven't scored a goal at home, and they'd have gone down to Wycombe Wanderers but for this spectacular save from Steve Banks.
At the end of August, Wycombe Wanderers have got 3 points from their 4 matches.
Mickey Bell floats it in. Now might yet drop. It's there! And Wycombe Wanderers take the lead. And away by Brown. De Souza. Now he's got Williams up ahead of him. And De Souza now sprinting ahead. And might be able to finish it. It might come for Williams. That's 2. Welcome to Adams Park for Wycombe Wanderers against Luton, where Wycombe have set the whole of the football world talking by signing the man of the moment. Ray Wilkins, after a glittering career with the likes of Chelsea, Manchester United, Rangers, AC Milan, and most recently Crystal Palace and Queen's Park Rangers. He now wears the light and dark blue of Wycombe Wanderers. And with over 80 caps in a superb England career, he immediately becomes the most capped player ever to play for Wycombe. Genchev. Thomas. Fortiades, it's there! Oldfield has done it and Luton have taken the lead.
Ray, how did this appearance come about, the events of the week?
Well, it's been a pretty traumatic week, David, I've got to say, and I've had lots of very nice phone calls from lots of good friends wanting me to play for them. But Alan just phoned me out of the blue on Friday, and he said he had a suspension on his hands, he had a couple of injuries on his hands, and would I come over for the one game to help him out? And I said, you know, he bailed me out when I got released from Queen's Park Rangers as a player, so I thought, well, I owe him one. So I decided to come across and have a game for them. Unfortunately, my performance wasn't up to too much today. It's been a bit of a traumatic week, and I wish I could have put in a better performance for the supporters.
At this stage of the season, Wycombe Wanderers have got 3 points from 5 matches.
Walsall on the attack. The ball's fallen for Kevin Wilson, the former Chelsea man. He takes a shot, and it's a goal. It's 1-0 to Walsall. Kevin Wilson with the goal. Free kick by Mickey Bell. Puts it in deep. Terry Evans meets it, and it's 1-1. Wycombe Wanderers are now drawing level. Bradley. It's a deep cross. Chested down well by Wilson. Feeds it across the box for Watson. Watson shoots and scores. Walsall lead by 2-1. Jason Cousins with the throw-in. Steve Brown takes a shot. It's deflected. And it's Walsall 2, Wycombe Wanderers 2. Steve Brown.
When you've not won a match all season, all you can ask for is a good start. Wycombe Wanderers certainly got that at Burnley. A total of 15 seconds had elapsed at Turf Moor when Miguel de Souza put them one up. But all the defensive frailties that have blighted Wycombe's season re-emerged, with Kurt Nogan levelling the scores after 23 minutes. Nogan is at the top of his form, ready to pounce on any scraps. And defending poor enough to reduce manager Alan Smith to tears allowed Nogan his 7th of the season and a 2-1 win.
Midway through September, Wycombe Wanderers had collected just 4 points from 7 games.
Brian Roy feeds it out wide to Stuart Pearce, the captain. It's back again to Roy. What can he do here? He's shaping for a shot, and he gets the shot in. It's 1-0. Nottingham Forest leading by a 1-0 against Wycombe Wanderers.
Asabar for Brentford. It's got men in the middle. That's 1-0. And Brentford have taken the lead with a goal of simplicity from Marcus Bent.
A home defeat by Brentford left Wycombe Wanderers just 1 off the bottom, 4 points from 8 matches.
Minutes of the first half for Wycombe to attempt to claw back the 1-goal deficit from that first leg a week ago. McCarthy is there, so too is Pearce. Brown forcing it back to Evans. McGavin. Lawrence trying trying to play Cousins in. It was an ambitious pass. Wone only for McGavin. Crossing on a fingertip to that, I think. Goal kick is the verdict. There certainly wasn't a lot to spare as the ball fell to Steve McGavin. Well, looked to me as if the keeper might just got a little bit of glove on that. It's a corner this time, or Pearce. Dave Farrell coming across to swing it in and making his rather sedate way forward. There's big Terry Ebbs, the central defender. Cousins will deliver. Oh, the other side of the bar and in! And McCarthy has scored for Wycombe Wanderers. It's Paul McCarthy's first goal for the club. And it levels up the aggregate scores. And Wycombe Wanderers have become more and more menacing as this half has progressed. Cousins' swinging cross was awkward. And McCarthy, stretching his neck muscles, found the underside of the bar and a good yard beyond the line. His header dropped down to give Wycombe the lead on the night and parity overall. Clearance by Bell, only as far as Bart Williams. This is Wone. Nice move by Ian Wone. Into the path of Brian Roy. It's in! It's Jason Lee! And Nottingham Forest are back in front with time running out for Wycombe Wanderers. Jason Lee's first of the season, only his second goal of 1996. Beautifully set up for him by Brian Roy. And Nottingham Forest have taken the lead with less than 2 minutes of the first period of extra time remaining. It's Jason Lee. It's been a real huff and a puff for the Premiership side, but they're nearly there. Lawrence is forward. Away by Bart Williams for Phillips. Well, there hasn't been two divisions between the two performances, that's for certain. Nottingham Forest have edged home after extra time. A player who's been making more headlines with his haircut, and with talk of whether or not he was about to leave Nottingham Forest, has made headlines tonight with an extra time goal, which takes Nottingham Forest just past a very game Wycombe Wanderers effort into the third round of the Coca-Cola Cup. 1-1 tonight means Nottingham Forest go through by 2-1 on aggregate.
Rotherham's 1-0 victory over Bournemouth and a thumping defeat by Peterborough left Wycombe without a manager after Alan Smith was released from his contract. Greg Hield put Peterborough ahead after 6 minutes. Alan Smith's job seemed assured when Wycombe fought back to establish a 3-1 lead before the interval. Mike Mahoney-Johnson made it 1-1 after 11 minutes, and 4 minutes later, Wycombe had gone ahead. Dave Carroll the scorer, as Wycombe started to show the form that gave Nottingham Forest an enormous scare in the Coca-Cola Cup a few days earlier. And on-loan QPR striker Mahoney-Johnson scored his second of the game after 34 minutes, with Wycombe on target for their first league win of the season. Peterborough struck 2 goals in a minute, the first through Ken Charlery, as they sought their first home league win of the season. And Derek Payne, who's followed manager Barry Fry basically everywhere he goes, added their third in the 42nd minute. 3 minutes after the break, Peterborough went 4-3 ahead. Simon Clark, who hadn't scored since the opening day of last season, was on target. Alan Smith's job was again on the line, and his departure from Wycombe was assured when Sean Farrell struck twice more for Peterborough. He made it 5-3 after 61 minutes and grabbed his third in 2 games 30 minutes from the end. A 6-3 hammering for Wycombe will have Neil Smiley in charge for Tuesday's bottom-of-the-table clash with Rotherham.
The 6-3 bludgeoning by Peterborough United sent Wycombe Wanderers to the bottom of the league with just 4 points from 9 matches. The departure of Alan Smith was well covered by the local newspapers, who got it all about right, although Alan Smith himself felt he was the victim of a hate campaign. caretaker manager Neil Smiley.
At the time, I wouldn't have said it was a shock. I mean, things had been building up for a little while, and obviously the results in the league weren't going as everyone wanted to. So, when you've been around football for any length of time, you see these things happen so often. That no, it wasn't a complete shock, but whenever it does happen, it's still a surprise, and at the moment it happens. The situation wasn't particularly good. We'd only got 4 points out of the games that we'd had. I think it was 9 games, wasn't it? And we had 4 games and 4 points out of the 9 games, and we were not looking so good. So obviously the initial thought was just to lift spirits a little bit and try and get some points on the board.
That's Berry, Hayward, Berry again. That was nicely done. Sandeman, and that's 1-0. It was all simply done for Rotherham. Cousins. Hayward, now he's really got a bit of space here, and that's 2-0. And 2 minutes before half-time, Williams, Cousins, looking badly need a goal now to give them a little bit of momentum. There's the cross, this is almost to McGavin, it's there! And Wycombe have pulled back the goal they so badly needed. Now, a great chance for McGavin! Is that going to stand? Well, Dave Cowell has conjured up so many memorable goals from that corner flag. Lawrence, Perry's lost it! McGavin scored! Cowell, can he get in on the act? Oh, what a delightful run. Oh, what a superb goal too! John Williams.
And of course, you came in and you did a very good job. The first two games, you must have been delighted.
Yeah, very much so. The Rotherham game didn't start out the right way, but ended in fantastic form. The lads played really well to get the result. And then the Notts County game really wasn't as good a performance, but it was the right result, and that sort of lifted us up to 10 points, which we hadn't been anywhere near before that.
And you must have been disappointed too with the Stockport game here at home, where I think had 17 corners or something like that in the game and lost.
I think out of the 5 games that I was in charge of the team, the Bournemouth game was a real disappointment. I thought we should have got something there. I felt that the club and the team were good enough to get a result there without a doubt, and played very well in the second half without being able to get back the 2 goals that we'd lost. The Bristol City game, I had to be honest and say that at the time, with the injuries that we had, I didn't think that we were in shape to go and give them a fantastic game. My expectations of that game weren't that great. But the Stockport game, I thought, whenever we play at home, the home form throughout the season has been particularly good, So I expected us to give Stockport a good game, and although Stockport showed us the way in the first half, they were by far the better side. I thought we were by far the better side in the second half, and as you said, we had 17 corners. And I know Dave Jones, the manager there, and he said it was the first time that they'd been camped in their own half. So for such a long period of a game, and with the results, with their achievements this season, it showed that it was quite a good performance.
At that particular time, especially before going into the Bristol City game, there was a lot of speculation around the club that you could well be the man to take the job on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the supporters were speculating. I did the job as though it was mine, and I think if you do any other than do that, then you sell everybody short. I did the job as though it was mine. I enjoyed the time that I was in charge, and I left others really then to make their minds up about who they wanted or who they didn't want.
Were you very disappointed? Obviously, you must have been when you didn't get the job.
Yeah, in a professional sense, you have to be. I mean, I was disappointed. Being in with a shout, and I think it was down to the last three. I was disappointed, but you know, when you've been in football long enough, these are the rules of the game. You know, that's the way it goes. You know, and you have to pick yourself up and get on with the next thing. You know?
Neil Smiley's reign as caretaker manager ends with 10 points from 14 matches. The search for the new manager was over as John Gregory was ushered in by Chairman Ivor Beeks to the press conference run by Alan Parry. John, how hard was it for you to leave Aston Villa?
It wasn't that difficult to leave. I think it was only in the sort of few weeks after that panic began to set in when I realised possibly what I'd done, because we hadn't had a particularly good start when I come to Wycombe. We had a difficult first couple of months, and I did sort of question myself a couple of times over what I'd walked away from. It wasn't a hard decision at the time, but when I think of the job I had there, I was very secure with the job I had, but I was always sort of riding on the back of Brian Little in many respects. You know, I wasn't particularly my own man, although I had a lot of freedom on the coaching side, on the training ground. Ultimately, I relied on how successful Brian was as a manager, which, as you know, he's been very successful and will continue to be successful. But you know, I had to go out and do it for myself in many respects, and Wycombe was the perfect club for me to come to. And I'd like to think, you know, I mean, I know for a fact I made an excellent choice in that. I mean, you've only got to look around the place now, and with the ground and the club itself and the history it's got, the tradition it's got here. I knew I was doing the right thing. It was just those first sort of few games, you know, where I think it took me 4 games to get a win, and it took quite a while for me really to get over some of my ideas, and it's still taking me a little while to get the sort of run here that I would like. But all in all, it was a difficult decision to make. But I certainly know now that, you know, it was the best thing I ever did.
Mm. Of course, the thing was you were very much aware about the club's potential, weren't you?
Yeah, of course. Living in Windsor, as I have done for about 17 years now, I've always been aware of Wycombe, and anybody that's involved in football as much as we are would certainly know about Wycombe Wanderers anyway. They've had a tremendous tradition over the years, a very successful past. And in that respect, I knew that a lot would be expected of me coming here. But having said that, you've only got to look at the new ground we've got here, and that's been built really. The new stand's been built on success. Martin O'Neill's period here, he has helped enormously to put this club on the map. Tremendous tradition, tremendous successful club. But I knew that coming here, I'd have a good chance. You know, I'd have a fair crack at the management role here. I'd be allowed to get on with the job, and I mean, it's no secret that I did spend some time talking to Martin beforehand about the club and about the people here and about the board of directors and the fans and so on. And he had nothing but praise for the club, as he would do. So he certainly helped sway me in that direction.
Okay, well, Saturday, the 26th of October, Wrexham out here. We got 10 points from 14 games, and we were bottom of the league. Mm. What a start!
Yeah, we had an uphill battle when I first came in, and there wasn't many points on the board, so we had a big handicap to make up. And as I said before, you know, it took me 4 games to get my first victory. In many respects, the game against Wrexham was defensively we played quite well, as we have done really all season. I changed the defence, as you know, into more of a 3-man central defence, added with 2 wing backs, we were almost playing like a back 5, and I think that was quite easy to do when I first come in, but it had that defensive look to it, and that's basically how we played, particularly in the first few months. We really struggled to score goals. But I was pleased to get a point in the first game, and we kept a clean sheet, which has been one of the major problems here before I came, that we just couldn't stop leaking goals. And yeah, we only had 10 points on the board, and 6 of them actually was what Neil Smiley had got in his first 2 games here. He beat Rotherham and Notts County, 2 home wins, which put an extra 6 points on the board. Other than that, we'd had 4 points from the first few games. So there was a major deficit to make up. And I didn't have the immediate impact that I wanted. I was hoping to come in that we'd try and lift things, as new managers tend to do. But it took 4 games to get a win, and I think in my first 10 games, I only yielded about 6 or 7 points, which was shocking, really. It wasn't as good as I'd hoped for.
McMillan with the pass forwards, feeds it through to Hemsworth. The shot across to Pepper. It's in the box now. Oh dear me, I think we're in trouble here. Steve Brown has given away a penalty. Nigel Pepper steps up to take it. It's 1-0. York 1, Wycombe Wanderers 0. Gary Bull feeds it through to Pepper, the goal scorer. It's a good pass through to Tolson. What a great shot. What a great goal. York 2, Wycombe 0.
Richard, when did you first know that you might be coming to Wycombe Wanderers?
Forget the exact date. It was one Friday night at the end of October as I lay in the bath.
I mean, you'd known John before for quite some time. In fact, I think you'd known him for a number of years, haven't you?
Yeah, our paths first crossed. In our playing days, he was. We've got a mutual friend in Gary Shelton, who's up at Chester now, and we had the odd pint after the game when we'd played each other, and we then paths crossed again when we went to Lilleshall to do our full licence together.
So the attraction of Wycombe Wanderers wasn't just the football club; it was also John Gregory as well.
Yeah, I mean, I knew of Wycombe's potential anyway. With regards to me, 18 months I had it, dare I say it, Kettering. But I knew the potential of the football club, I knew the setup of the football club, I knew all about it. Very impressed with it when I came here in my Kettering days, but the attraction of working with John Gregory as well was something else that appealed to me.
How long did it take you on your arrival here to realise you were going to have to make some changes?
My first day I started was a Friday, the day before we played Crewe. We went up to Crewe. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then on the way back from the bus I says to John, then what you done me?
Oh, it was that bad? It was that bad?
I mean, obviously we'd come and we'd changed the style of, we'd changed the formation as how the team had been playing under the previous people. So we'd more or less changed that overnight, which again was a hard thing for some of the lads to grasp. And with the formation we were playing, I'd been used to it at Reading, and I'd introduced it to the youth team at Reading as well. So was sort of quite genned up as to how I thought things should adapt into that system of play, and come here and the lads were very sort of alien towards it.
Wycombe are still bottom, but new boss John Gregory at least has a victory to savour. Steve Brown registered their first goal for 6 games midway through the first half. Plymouth equalised before the break. Left-back Paul Williams' first goal of the season. Wycombe's second won't win goal of the season, but when it clinches only a 3rd win of the campaign, style isn't the issue. Miguel de Souza got the final touch.
A useful home win over Plymouth Argyle saw Wycombe move on to 14 points from 18 matches.
Jason Cousins feeds it out on the wing to John Williams. Advances the box. Oh, it's a good run, this. Can he shoot? No, he opts for the pass. D'Souza! It's 1-0. Colchester 0, Wycombe 1, Miguel D'Souza. Carl Emerson with the goal kick. Met by the head of Cousins. Steve Brown now. Oh, what a great through ball that is. Can he score now? John Williams. Oh yes, the simplest goal he's ever likely to score. Wycombe lead by 2-0. Colchester with a lot of possession now in this second half. Fry hoists it into the air. Met by McCarthy. Brown. Oh dear, it's Wilkins. And Colchester have pulled one back.
It was looking good at Watford until David Carroll unfortunately lost the ball in a vital area. It was picked up by the Watford players, fed through to Gifton Williams, who raced away from the Wycombe defence. He fed Connolly just at the right time, and sadly Wycombe were beaten in the last minute of the game.
Wycombe will be sending a video of the match to the referee, hoping he'll reconsider some of his decisions as the home side ended the game against Preston with just 8 men. Matt Crossley the first to go. Lee Ashcroft scored the penalty. He's now scored for the past 3 games. Scoreline never changed, but the player count did. 8 minutes later, Steve Brown was dismissed for his second bookable offence. And in the dying seconds, Wycombe's misery was completed when Terry Evans became the 3rd home player to be shown the red card. Referee Mr. Stiles can expect a special delivery in the next few days.
A disastrous home defeat by Preston North End left Wycombe Wanderers on 14 points from 20 matches and bottom of the table.
Wycombe endured their 3rd successive 1-0 defeat, the only goal coming after 46 seconds. Craig Skinner scored it, the fastest of the day. Wycombe remain superglued to the basement.
We still had that defensive look, and we were losing games just by the odd goal. A lot of games we lost 1-0. I remember 3 consecutive matches. I think it was Watford away, Preston at home, and then Wrexham away. We lost those 3 games by 1-0. We weren't that far away, we just couldn't score goals at the other end, although we tightened things up at the back. So it was a slow start, but gradually we just started to pick points up, and it was just the away form really that was causing us a lot of problems, and still is to this day.
Were you aware though right away that you were going to have to make personnel changes?
Yeah, I mean that was the first thing. As you know, it's been fairly well documented that I saw 3 matches before I came to the club. I saw the club play Rotherham and Notts County, Neil's 2 games that he won, and I saw the game at Bristol City. And I knew then that the team wasn't good enough to stay up, I didn't think at the time. The personnel that were here, I knew I'd need to make changes to bring other people in and to move some on. I've already stated that the fact that there was too many people here that thought that work started on Saturday afternoon at sort of 10 to 3 and it finished at 5 o'clock, that was it. There's a bit more to it than that. You need to work hard on the training ground for 5 days a week. So a lot of things had to change. There was a lot of bad habits within the football club. I'm not saying that it's perfect now, but it's certainly a lot better in that respect. And I had to get a more professional outlook from players, which I think we're heading in the right direction. But yeah, players had to change. I was very fortunate that the board gave me a few bob to spend to bring players in. It started with Kavanagh. He was my first signing. At £20,000, he's turned out to be value for money in that respect. And of course, others have followed. And I've tried to take all the best bits and pieces from what I inherited and added to 1 or 2 that I brought in. We've certainly got a better side than what I had when I first come, but it's come at a price, you know. I mean, the players haven't come here cheap. Some of them have been brought in on salaries that are probably slightly above the average Division 2 salary, but they're here for another couple of years, so I'd like to think that those lads, it's been money well spent in that direction. The most important thing from a club's point of view is that you don't waste the money that you're given, and coming to somewhere like Wycombe, we don't have a great deal to spend, so I have to make sure that the signings I make are successful ones. I can't afford to fail too many times, and so far I think we're just slightly ahead, so I hope it remains that way.
You brought a lot of players in from one of your ex-clubs, Derby County. I mean, does that concern you too much, what people might think we might be becoming Wycombe Wanderers stroke Derby County?
Yeah, I would hate them to think that you know, there's a bit of nepotism in there somewhere, but it's not quite that bad. Kavanagh really is the only direct import from Derby County. Yes, I've known Forsyth. I played with Forsyth at Derby County. I think in many respects that's probably been a good thing, because I know the type of person he is. He's an out-and-out winner, and he's absolutely delighted to be at a club like ours. Yes, Stallard's had his time there. I didn't actually play with Mark Stallard, but again, I know they've had a good upbringing. They've got good pedigrees in that respect. That's why I'm prepared to stick my neck out for them. But no, that doesn't bother me. If they improve the playing staff at the club, I personally don't care where they come from or what people think. And I would like to think, as we speak today, that supporters are pleased that they joined us, because they've all played their part in getting us to safety this season. Now, but I think I've also proved that regardless of who they are, how much they cost, where they've come from, if they're not playing well, they won't play in the team. Don't matter who they are, whether I bought them or not, they won't play. The best 11 players will play each and every week, regardless of how much they cost, where they come from, or what other people think. I'm always prepared to just pick the side that I think is the best side to win that particular game on that particular day, and I shall always be like that.
Away by McGavin. D'Souza is the only man up for Wycombe. But now he's got 1 against 3. There's support arriving in the middle. Not a bad ball. It's hooked away by Sinclair. Bell. Oh, yes!
Ball's with Lee Hodges, who spent a little while on loan at Wycombe Wanderers. It's a good ball out on the wing to Sean Devine, Barnett's leading goal scorer. Tackle's trying to go in on Devine, but he works his way round. Simpson now. Oh, what a shot! What a goal! What a goal there by Phil Simpson. Barnet lead by a goal to 0. It's across the box now. Hodges takes the shot, and it's in! Oh dear, Wycombe losing 2-0 now. Dave Farrell, good chest control, rounds Gale. He's on the run now. Feeds it wide, D'Souza. Steve McGavin, oh yes, it's in there. 2-1, Steve McGavin. McCarthy's head up, helped on by Carroll to Farrell. D'Souza puts the ball out wide to Steve McGavin, the goal scorer. What can McGavin do here? Opts for the cross. It's a good cross. John Williams. Oh, that header's gone in. It's 2-2 now. Hodges with the header down. To Tomlinson. It's a good ball through to Devine. We know how dangerous he is, and he's got it in there. Barnet regained the lead, 3-2. Oh, John Williams makes it 3-3.
There hasn't been a lot to cheer at Wycombe, but new manager John Gregory could just have pulled off a masterstroke. A winner from Miguel de Souza that could grace any match anywhere.
An important home victory over Chesterfield gave Wycombe 20 points from 23 matches.
He got in. Tomlinson. Nicky Bell's late to get back. Campbell and Hodges in the centre for Barnet. Tomlinson going further. And he scored. Jamie Campbell, the replacement for Sean Devine, has come into the team and done the trick for Alan Mullery and Barnet. Jamie Campbell, 1-0 to Barnet.
This is great play from Tomlinson. He looks up here, realises his two centre forwards are rushing to get in the box. He delays it, he gives them a chance to get in. Great cross, lovely finish.
Just take the heat out of the game when you got into a good position. And be strong, look for the result rather than for the embroidery in the other half of the pitch. But it's a long way to go tonight when, of course, let me remind you again, we have to have a result, even if it goes to penalties. Well, it's 1-1, and John Williams has improved Wycombe's chances of being on the right end of the result. He's done it in a cup tie again, he's done it against Barnet again.
Well, I'm not sure this comes off his shoulder. I think he heads it down on his shoulder. Let's have a look. There's the header, no, clean header, beautiful. Goalkeeper Taylor, no chance. A deep cross, Williams gets above them, looping header. Oh, just what the doctor ordered.
Well, you have to say about John Williams that he had... Here's Campbell. Wilson. Well, here's the pace of de Souza. McGavin in the middle. Williams is there as well. McGavin getting across in front of Howarth. That's Carroll. Oh, and the goalkeeper has made a hash of it. Well, just as we were praising Mike Taylor, what a mistake. Well, Dave Carroll's header.
Well, look at the free man at the back there, but oh dear, that's a goalie's nightmare. Lovely ball, there's 2 against 1 in favour of Wycombe. There's the header, the goalie seems to have got it. Disaster.
And Wycombe Wanderers are in front in this second round FA Cup tie at long, long last.
Oh, what a shame for Mike Taylor. No wonder he's shaking his head.
Williams touching it on, de Souza. And they use their speed together now. This is de Souza. He's still going. Mikel de Souza, 3-1 to Wycombe Wanderers, and I don't think we'll get extra time now.
Well, that's it, game, set and match. And this is the first time I think they've combined well all throughout the game. Good flick from Williams. Now this is good strength from de Souza. Decides, he sees a little gap between the two defenders, says, right, I'm going for it. Gets a nutmeg there, but this is a quality finish.
And Wycombe Wanderers are heading towards the third round of the FA Cup.
Lovely finish, left foot. Mike Taylor gets a hand to it, I believe. Just can't keep it out.
That's a confident pass.
Just took an up there, McGann.
Well, they've got a spare man here, Barnet. It's Brazil. Hodges. Still. 3-2. Lee Hodges in stoppage time. It isn't over yet. Barnet anxious to get back and get the game restarted. Wycombe still showing an air of vulnerability, even when the prize is almost in their grasp.
It's a lovely finish. Okay, a bit of luck, but I think they deserved a little bit of luck. Good ball in the box. Here's the second chance from Hodges. Deflected in the far corner.
Wycombe also gained a precious victory in the game of the day at Bristol Rovers. The home side went ahead through Jamie Cureton's diving header in the 44th minute. But Wycombe were level before the break.
New boss John Gregory is fining his players £5 for every shot from outside the box. David Carroll probably won't mind coughing up after crashing home the equaliser. Rovers were ahead again soon after the interval. A good through ball, and Jason Harris needed no second invitation. 8 minutes later and it was 3-1 Rovers. Matt Lockwood's free kick, and no doubt he'll claim the goal. But it's a moment Wycombe keeper John Cheesewright will want to forget. An incredible comeback was sparked just 2 minutes later. A superb build-up and a wonderful finish from Mickey Bell. And 7 minutes later, the Gregory copper was swelled for the third time, when Michael Simpson drilled home the equaliser. There was rather less quality about Wycombe's winner, although Terry Evans won't mind that. The big defender's effort went in off a Rovers player, but who cares when it's your first away victory of the season?
Oh, it's gone in! What a tremendous shot! Now, yet again, here's Andy Watson through. He could make it safe here. And there's Lightbourne, and that's 2-0.
A home defeat by Walsall on a treacherous surface at Christmas left Wycombe with 23 points from 25 matches.
Chris Kamara, the Bradford manager, on his feet, giving directions. Here's the free kick. Dinked in by Hamilton. Shot comes in, and Bradford have the lead. John Dreyer has done it for them. Well, even at this stage of the competition, going out is not a very pleasant feeling. Shutt going in there once more. Hamilton was in there. McGavin. Oh, it's gone in! And Bradford. Lee Duxbury has got the goal.
Balls with Roger Freestone, former Chelsea goalkeeper, now keeping in the sticks for Swansea. Watch the kick from the floor. Headed on by Torpey to Thomas. Oh, dear me, what an audacious goal there by Thomas. Swansea lead a goal to nil. McGavin puts the ball through to Brian McGorry. Brian McGorry scores his first ever Wycombe goal. Game goes into penalties then. Penny with the first. 1-0 Swansea. Penny scores the first penalty. Neil Davis now for Wycombe Wanderers, the on-loan Villa striker. What can he do? Oh, it's hit the bar. Roger Freestone, the keeper now, makes it 2-0 to Swansea. Mickey Bell. It's in there, 2-1. Steve Torpey now to make it 3-1. Steve McGavin. It's 3-2. Jan Mulvey now puts his weight behind the penalty. 4-2, Swansea lead. The ball with Paul McCarthy now. Paul makes it 4-3. Freestone just got a hand to that. Thomas now for Swansea. Oh, he's missed. Steve Brown, it's 4-4. It's Moyera now for Swansea. He makes it 5-4. Matthew Lawrence. 5 apiece. Keith Walker now for Swansea, the big centre-back. And he makes it 6-5. Miguel de Souza now, a lot resting on this penalty for him. Oh, he's missed. And that's it. Wycombe lose by 6-5 on penalties.
It was touch and go whether or not Wycombe's game against Peterborough beat the weather, but when it did, Wycombe went ahead with a slightly fortuitous goal. Peterborough goalkeeper Bart Greeming left slightly red-faced as Miguel de Souza was left to score almost as he pleased. John Gregory is gradually making an impact at Adams Park, and he was delighted to see his side go 2 up when Mickey Bell drilled a shot against the Peterborough bar, and Steve McGavin closed in for a not entirely convincing kill. Imagine the horror then of the Wycombe fans when, with the score still 2-0 and 63 minutes played, referee Stretton suddenly blew the whistle and abandoned the game. Peterborough arms raised, but even Barry Fry was almost lost for words.
I felt that the referee started it and I thought he would finish it, and I was absolutely amazed when he called it off. You know, I didn't think it was fit to begin with, but once he started it, you know, I'd have been gutted if I'd have been, no matter what the score was, I'd have been gutted if he hadn't finished it once he started it, especially if I was Wycombe 2-0 up, 6-pointer. Things are going wrong for them. You know, you just need that break. I couldn't really see us getting back in it, to be honest. So, you know, I'm delighted the game's been called off, but I'm a little bit disappointed.
I've got to ask you now, I mean, what do you think, looking back on it now, was your most depressing moment that you've gone through in the 7 months or so that you've been at the club?
I mean, Rotherham sticks out like a sore thumb for me. There's been more than one occasion, I must admit, when I thought, Christ, we're never going to get out of this situation, because, as I said, you know, there's just seemed so many walls are being built up against us, and so many little turns of fate where we just couldn't seem to get out of trouble. But Rotherham in particular, because I think we went up there on the back of, I think we might have beaten York at home or somebody, and we just got within sight of getting out of the 4, and we went to Rotherham, everybody expecting us to win, and we just didn't perform. We were awful that day. We were awful. Dave Carroll got us a penalty, the first penalty we'd had 43 matches, and we just didn't perform that day, and we couldn't beat the bottom team in the league, and I think it summed it all up really that day. And the coach journey home it lasted for about 8 or 9 hours, you know. In real terms, it was only about 2.5 hours, but it seemed like about 8 hours. I just couldn't get it out of my mind. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Didn't want to speak to anyone for days after that.
23 points from 26 matches.
Wycombe have spent most of the season suffering from vertigo. The thought of the big drop enough to bring on dizzy spells and panic in most. But Paul Reed, a big signing from Arsenal and therefore used to heights, gave Wycombe the lead. And that was added to by Michael Forsyth. Two goals, never an adequate safety net, and nerve ends tingle when Neil Campbell pulled one back. But it was Reid who produced a touch or two of class to add 3 points to the Wanderers' sparse total. A smooth move across London for young Paul.
The manager's done me a great favour from plucking me from Arsenal reserves. Obviously the fans are expecting a lot because I come from a Premier League side. So to score 2 goals in my home debut was like a dream come true, really.
Home win over York City means that Wycombe have 26 points from 27 matches.
Well, I do have a few quid. It's not a lot, but we have to try and use it as wisely as we can, because you've heard me already say that if I make too many mistakes, obviously the board, not only do they run out of money, but at the same time they would question my judgment. So it's important that anybody that I do bring into the club, it has to be the right character, the right calibre, and first and foremost, they have to be good enough. I don't have a large amount of money to spend. I think the club have actually done particularly well. I mean, so far I've spent 130,000. I've bought 4 players with 130,000. I've yet to get a price for Michael Simpson. As you know, they want 150,000 for him. I've offered 35. And we'll probably meet halfway somewhere. So that will probably take my spending up to approximately, I don't know, 180, 190, 200,000 maybe, depending on what he costs at the tribunal. That's an extortionate amount of money for a club such as Wycombe to try and produce, because we, as you know, we're averaging about 4,700 coming through the gate each and every week, after players' wages, expenses, referees' expenses. Taking into account, there's not a lot left, to be fair. So I do have some more money, yes. I am still looking to improve the club. I can't really say any more than that, but what I will say is that whenever I've gone to the board and asked them before now to sign the 4 players, they've been able to come up with the money so far. I think it's the loan system has helped us enormously, in as much as with Kavanagh, with Simpson, not with Forsyth, but of course with Davis as well. It's given us the opportunity to have a look at the players before we've actually purchased them. I hope that the boys that we've got in here so far are going to prove to be value for money. I think that's the most important thing for me. But yeah, to answer your question, there's still a few pennies left, and I don't think my spending's over for this season yet. No. We're looking to change certainly the away strip to something a bit more traditional. The home strip, we are considering what we might do for next season at the moment. So all I can say is we are giving it 100% thought, because it's very important. I think it's a very important aspect of the club, not only to return to our traditional quarters as soon as possible. You must appreciate there are certain contractual rights that we have to adhere to, because we entered into an agreement with Mizuno. Under normal circumstances, this particular strip will stay with us for 2 seasons. We are only a quarter of the way, or just over a quarter of the way through that contract at the moment. But it's something that everybody at the football club, particularly board level, are looking into at the moment. We might be able to do something for next season. If we do, we will change back to the light blue and dark blue quarters as soon as possible, and we hope that we can have a very attractive kit and something that you'll be very proud to wear on your back.
In a basement brawl, Plymouth's brethren played out a goalless draw with lowly Wycombe, still wandering dangerously close to the drop. Their best chance came from Michael Simpson.
Crewe slipped to 5th after falling victim to Wycombe's revival at Adams Park. John Gregory's side are now unbeaten in their last 3 outings, and hope is rising in Buckinghamshire. Paul Reed gave them a first-half lead. And in the dying seconds, Miguel de Souza made sure they edged a little closer to safety with his 5th of the season.
29 matches played, 30 points gained.
Wycombe's season of woe rolled mercilessly along with another defeat. The defence in a trance, but no surprise there. It was Paul McKenna who scored. then Stephen McGavin, signed from Birmingham City and known as a creator more than a finisher, celebrated a rare goal. But Wycombe wins are considerably rarer, although they were unbeaten in 3 until Saturday. Simon Davey, who was in the PFA's 3rd Division Team of the Season last year, with the Preston winner.
McGavin. And a fingertip touch there from Miller.
A home 0-0 draw with Watford gives Wycombe a point a game. 31-31.
Bell sending the ball down, well cut out there by Edwards, but Wycombe still on the chase. Chance here for the ball to come across. Gavin, and Wycombe go! A goal in front. Steve McGavin on 11 minutes. Bell looking to run through. Drops for Carroll. Off the foot. And, oh, so tantalising off the line. Carroll! De Souza finishes it off.
Wycombe Wanderers' first ever day trip to Millwall hardly had an auspicious start. Within 15 minutes, goalkeeper John Cheesewright had failed to get to grips with Lucas Neal's cross, and Steve Crawford and Paul Hartley were left to dispute the glory. John Gregory will be alarmed about Wycombe's away record, 1 win in 16 attempts, but hope sprang eternal thanks to Mick Forsyth's unstoppable header. That record became a millstone again, though, as Neal switched flanks to cause trouble again, and Tony Dolby's header was a made-to-measure winner.
Small but vociferous crowd from Wycombe. Carroll. De Souza. Oh, and an excellent save from the keeper.
The pressure is growing on Bristol Rovers after they went down to Wycombe, watched by Phil Duffel.
De Souza to the other wing back, that's Cousins. Now it's Kavanagh. Hooked into the middle, and it may yet fall for Stallard. Good tackle by Pritchard. Stallard's shot, and it's into the net. Wycombe Wanderers lead, and the new boy, Mark Stallard, has done it. Here come Wycombe again. Stallard, good turn by him. Brown has made it 2-0.
A home win over Bristol Rovers gives Wycombe Wanderers 38 points from 35 matches.
For an FA Cup semi-final team, Chesterfield had been goal-shy at home until they met Wycombe. Swift reactions by John Howard put them ahead. But they won't be pleased with the defending that allowed Wycombe to recover. Mark Stallard finished off a sweeping move to equalise. And Chesterfield fell 2-1 behind, with Steve Brown's powerful header offering hope of 3 vital points. But just on half-time, Chesterfield piled on the pressure. Wycombe's goal was leading a charmed life until Jamie Hewitt forced home to level the scores. There was real quality about the goal that took Chesterfield into a 3-2 lead, Dave Hansen with the overhead kick. Chesterfield were now in control. They could even afford to miss a penalty before John Howard completed a 4-2 win with a stirring run and finish. Middlesbrough spies will have been impressed.
Wycombe are still in real relegation trouble after another away defeat, but only Gillingham keeper Jim Stannard prevented them going in front in the first half. But just when it looked like they'd at least got a draw, a scrambled winner 4 minutes from time. Skipper Terry Evans headed it past his keeper Brian Parkin, and Ife Anora was credited with his 18th of the season.
Certainly as far as the youth team is concerned, I mean, you've done wonderfully well, and it's gone from strength to strength again this season. Some marvellous cup runs you've had.
Yeah, this season the boys have done very well. I think I said to you this time last year, I thought the lads may have overachieved slightly at the position of themselves in the league. this season, possibly in the Cups, it's shown that they last season didn't overachieve. They sort of were at the level that they should have been, and they've given. I mean, in the last game in the Cups that we had, with the semi-final of the Southern Junior Floodlit Cup, they gave Crystal Palace a fantastic game over, and we played them in the league in between the two games. So in the space of a week, we played Palace 3 times, only lost by the odd goal in the 3 games, and Palace are in the final of the FA Youth Cup. So for the group of players that we've just had, it spoke volumes.
And the future, I mean, it's looking good for you. Have you got real hopes of what can be achieved later?
Well, I mean, as I say, we're just starting off. So the future, it just depends how hard we work, and obviously, if things get going at the club, then the future's, it's a question mark about how big it could be. We don't know, and we're just looking constantly to increase the quality, and you don't know what players around the corner. The next one that we sign could be the one that makes it in the England team. You just don't know. That's the nature of the beast. It's one of those jobs. It's very fulfilling when things do happen in the way, say for Morris getting in the first team and the other boys coming through. A recent game when Crewe came here and played us in the first team, I was discussing the youth policy with Dario Gradi, who's obviously got a very it's a famous one now. The Crewe youth policy is known throughout the country. And I was discussing it with him about how long it would take to set up. I initially, and I think everybody around the place initially, thought that it would take around about 5 years to get itself to a position where it's working properly. Dario thought that it'd be a little bit longer. He thought about 7 years, because there's also a period where people perceive an 18-year-old to come through and he's going to be the player, but he's not. He needs maybe another couple of years. So the ones you've identified as the young boys, take their time to come through to the youth team and through the youth team, and then it takes a little bit longer to get in the first team. So, the likes of Morris now, who's made the break, people perhaps shouldn't be looking at him as being a first team regular next season. He's going to get his experience gradually, and John's going to call on him every now and then. But unless he makes a fantastic break, it may take him another year. And we have to be, but it just depends on the individual boy. That we have to be patient with the boys. So, discussing with Dario and Tom Wally at Arsenal, I know, and things like that. It's a constant process of upping your quality if you can, and being patient with the boys that you have.
I think looking back too, it was a very brave decision bringing Keith Scott back to the club. When you think of the reputation he had here, the fact people could have thought he was Martin O'Neill's sort of player, and it's proved to be again a marvellous move by you.
Yeah, I wanted to bring Scotty in before I actually brought him in. I mean, he's one of the first people I thought of when I came in, and in fact, I spoke to 1 or 2 people within the game who told me not to touch him with a barge pole, and that is total honesty. They said, "Oh no, you don't want him at your club. He's a troublemaker, or he's a big-time Charlie. He won't want to play." I was warned off him by quite a few people who have been at former clubs with him. But at the same time, I knew that he would be the right one for us. I couldn't afford the transfer fee Norwich City were asking. It was a lot of money, I felt, for somebody of his age who I might be able to get cheaper a little bit later on in time. But the most important thing for me was I didn't want to bring him back to the club, maybe say last November, and only have him on loan for a couple of months and then have to send him back to Norwich, because I think the biggest disappointment for fans here would be that if Keith came into the club and suddenly left and had to go back because we couldn't afford to keep him. So the timing had to be right on it, and the fact that when I did finally get him, I got him here for the remainder of the season, which had to be the most important thing. I didn't want to have to send him back halfway through a loan period or something. So when we did finally get him, we got him here right up until the end of the season. So whatever we do in the future remains to be seen. But I knew that it'd give us an enormous lift. I had no problems about him being an ex-favourite here. In fact, that sort of helped in many respects. He told me that he'd put 1,000 on the gate every week. In his modest way that he's got about him. He said most of them would be women as well. But bless his heart. He's scored the goals. That's been the most important thing. He's actually scored goals. He's won us matches, and he's certainly changed a lot of things. He's always an outlet for us. If we've got a problem, we can just throw it in the box to Scotty, and 9 times out of 10 he's on the end of it. And he'll create goals for others. The game against Burnley in particular stands out for me, where he hasn't scored on the night, but I think he had his hand directly in 4 others. So he's more than played his part in that act. And no, I've got no problems with Keith whatsoever. I love having him around the place. He's got great banter with all the players. The lads think the world of him. We've had to have the door widened in the dressing room to get his head through, particularly when he scores. But other than that, he's been good as gold.
Scott. Carroll just missed a head, and it's in the back of the net. And the guy, you've got to say, scored some awfully important goals for Wycombe. Now, Bell racing up on the outside, but will it need him? And brilliant work from Stallard. Simpson. Scott. Linesman's flag stayed down. Scott checks inside, goes down. Carroll comes in, and Wycombe go 3 goals in front.
It's coming up to the first anniversary of Bury's last home defeat, and as Wycombe's 20 away days this season have produced just 1 win, the 2-0 scoreline at Gig Lane was eminently predictable, Nicky Dawes sending Bury on their way. 8 minutes from the end, £100,000 defender Paul Butler got on the end of Gordon Armstrong's free kick. Bury are already offering cup price next season tickets, hopefully for First Division fare.
At the end of March, Wycombe Wanderers have 41 points from 39 matches, still in the relegation area.
Wycombe aren't going down without a fight. Keith Scott's second-half header gave them the points against Blackpool, but the Wanderers' fate is likely to be settled away from Adams Park. 11 home wins is all very well, but just 1 away victory explains their plight.
An excellent goalless draw at Luton saw the last of Martin Taylor, who'd been on loan from Derby County, and what a benefit the goalkeeper had made. But in this game, Paul Reed almost won it for the Blues with a wonderful left-foot snapshot.
There was a marvellous piece of business you did too, bringing Martin Taylor, the goalkeeper, again from Derby County, but just 1 game we all saw what an outstanding goalkeeper he was. Then you had to suffer this massive blow, being taken away at a very vital point.
Yeah, it was important. We tried to play it down that it's not such a big deal and all that, because we still got to get on with it. I mean, the fact that he'd gone back, we still had to live with it, and I didn't want to make too much of a song and dance about it. But when you lose a player of his calibre, regardless of the position, it does tend to give you a bit of a kick in the teeth, and it was just something else that we had built up against us. You know, all these walls kept appearing that we had to try and either knock down or climb over all the way through the season. You know, at times we lost players through suspension that were very important to us. In the Cups, you may remember, in the FA Cup in particular, we had a couple of players on loan that we couldn't play, and then we had a few suspensions. Remember the Barnet game away from home? Young Mo Harkin ends up being one of the subs. We lost suspensions, and then we had injuries. We lost McGavin for a crucial time at the football club. He was playing particularly well, and he got an injury at Millwall, and we lost him for about 6 weeks, I think. And then, of course, we had Martin at the end. That was a culmination, really, having him taken away from us. Lots of things were built up against us. Whenever we won, the other team seemed to win. And I can remember that night we just got in sight of Shrewsbury, and they went and beat Burnley at home. And Christ, you know, we're never going to get out of trouble. But all in all, you know, we had to fight our way through it. But yeah, Martin was taken away from us at a very important time. But we had to get on with it. I mean, Parky's he's more than adequate in that respect, and he knows his position at the club. Brian, he knows he's not been first choice, but whenever he's come in, he's not let us down at all. He's been as good as gold. I love having him around the place.
Wycombe celebrated their 100th years of appearance in the Berks and Bucks Cup by being put out at home to Aylesbury United. The ball's fed out to the right, and a cross comes in from Newsom, and a Swaysland deflected header gives them victory.
Wycombe are edging clear in John Gregory's first season and took a first-minute lead through Steve Brown after County's defenders had got themselves in a bit of a mess. Notts County made it 1-1 just 2 minutes later. A goal's a rare event for the bottom club, a mere 30 all season. Clearly sacking manager Colin Murphy before Christmas didn't work. Sam Allardyce has won just 1 in 22 matches. When Steve McGavin scored what turned out to be Wycombe's winner, it gave them hope and relegated the Football League's oldest club.
Victory at Notts County lifted Wycombe Wanderers out of the relegation zone for the first time. 48 points from 42 matches.
Cousins. Carroll. Now can he jinx his way through? Nearly does. McGavin. Stallard brought down, the referee points to the spot, and this is what Wycombe needed. Stallard definitely brought down there. And the keeper got a touch to it, but Wycombe go ahead. Scott. Carroll. Forsyth getting the ball in, handball inside the penalty area, and Wycombe have got another penalty. Just coming round to the half-hour mark. And Davy Carroll makes it 2-0. Carroll. Brown. The flag stays down, Scott's away. Stallard on that far side. Good save. McGavin puts it in the back of the net. The Wycombe lead by 3-0. Oh, Stallard on his own at the moment. Bell keeps going. Stallard. McGavin. Stallard! And it's 4-0. Wycombe. Simpson battling it out. Bell free. Bell gets the cross in. And Breed just on for a few minutes makes it 5-0, which is the most goals Wycombe have scored this year.
Given the circumstances, Bournemouth's recent form has been nothing short of phenomenal. They've lost just 3 out of 16 since the receiver was called in, and Matt Holland put them ahead. Wycombe have got out of jail too. Keith Scott's equaliser means they need just 1 more point to be mathematically safe.
A valuable home point against Bournemouth still kept Wycombe out of the relegation area. 52 points from 44 matches.
Of course, we had that marvellous 6-run unbeaten spell, which culminated at Stockport, which was a defeat, but the most extraordinary Saturday afternoon I think I've ever had.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you've had better Saturday afternoons, but it was a bit of an odd situation to sort of be celebrating staying up after you just lost. I mean, it would have been a lot better that afternoon had we drawn and got that point that would have automatically made us safe. Had we done that, then we could have enjoyed the afternoon a little bit more. I was just disappointed, as the players were, to have lost against Stockport County, who supposedly the best team in our division, or one of the best teams. To have lost to them 2-1 when we felt we probably deserved to win, certainly get a draw. That's the disappointing thing, and that's what I want to transfer to players. I want it to hurt people when we lose. Don't matter who it's against, whether it's a bloody game of snooker or head tennis or five-a-side. You know, it's got to hurt when we lose. We're slowly getting around that way with players, but we were disappointed that we lost that day. But we of course had Keith Ryan and Terry Skibberton on the line. They were both mobile phones up at Shrewsbury and York respectively, covering both their games, and of course Richard was on his mobile in the dugout. So we knew that Preston were losing, Preston were winning at Shrewsbury. We knew they were winning 1-0. And Richard was just having a conversation with Keith, and he said that Shrewsbury were all over Preston. And he said, oh, Preston have broke away and scored. It's 2-0. And Richard just told him to go home. He said, oh, go home, son, we're safe. And we sort of enjoyed the last 5 minutes or so at Stockport. And of course after the game, you probably saw the reaction of Jason Cousins. Because we'd lost the game, he just wanted to know how Shrewsbury got on, and when Richard said that they'd lost 2-0, he just collapsed on the pitch. Jason epitomises everything about Wycombe Wanderers to me. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's been at the club a long, long time, as you know. He's probably experienced every success at this club. I think he's been through most of them. He's been with the club a long time now, and of course he's been through the downside of this season. You know, having to fight for our safety really in this division. So, but he epitomises everything about Wycombe. You know, he loves the club through and through, and I think everyone at the club loves him as well. And nobody really has worked harder this season than Jason to keep us up in this division. He's had a tremendous season.
Brentford's playoff opponents will be Bristol City, who wound up their season at Wycombe, watched by Phil Duffel.
Carroll thought about the cross, then cut inside, tries to curl one. What a sensational goal by Dave Carroll. Well, it'll go a long way to see a better strike than that. McGavin. Away from... Oh, and what a goal! He left Gary Hours for dead and buried it in the far corner, and Wycombe Wanderers lead by 2-0 with 2 sensational strikes.
The final table, 55 points from 46 matches. The Great Escape is complete.
Now you go into the next season with a clean sheet of paper virtually. You've obviously got to make your mind up about those players that are going to be released, those you're going to offer new contracts to, and any new players you might want to bring in.
Yeah. I've said to Ivor actually that even Dalglish at Newcastle, Wenger at Arsenal, Brian Little for one at Aston Villa, they might, I mean Kenny, his club has spent £60 million and they still haven't got the team that they want. Ferguson's the same, he spent God knows how much at Manchester United. You'll always want more, and myself as a manager, I will always be looking to improve the club, and if he turned around to me and said, here's 500 grand, you know, I'd want 6. We're a little bit greedy like that, us managers, but you're always looking to improve, you're always looking to bring better players into the football club, if it's right at the time, and I'm no different. I'd like another 3 at least for next season. I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to afford to get them. I've got to bear in mind Keith, Scott and Martin Taylor, their situations with their respective clubs. I can't do anything with those until a decision is made by the clubs that actually own their registrations at the moment. But they're 2 that spring to mind, and there are 3 or 4 others that I've got my eye on, and if I can't get Martin and Keith, then I might have to look elsewhere. So I'm still looking to improve it, and I will work very hard to try and get us a side next season, certainly that's not going to be involved in a relegation battle all season. You know, I'm looking to be at the other end of the table next year, hopefully. We've still got a long, long way to go yet. The standard needs to improve right the way through this football club, and but I shall endeavour to make sure that we do improve next year. I've got to look at my retain list. I have made my mind up as we speak today. I have made my mind up. I had a meeting with Ivor and Graham Peart this morning, financial director, as to what we're going to do next season. So that will become public probably one day next week.
And how do you see the future? I mean, obviously you wouldn't have come to this club if you hadn't thought it had real possibilities in the future. You think you will be capable of reaching Division 1, not necessarily next season, but certainly within the next two?
There is still a lot of work to be done, a hell of a lot of work to be done within the club. The club itself, I feel, is geared to progressing. You can't overlook the fact that this club is 4 years old. It's a baby. It's actually a baby with regard to Football League membership. It's come such an unbelievably long way, and anybody that's actually been in football, I think maybe people connected with the club have taken it for granted because they've always been successful. The Wanderers have always been successful, certainly in my lifetime. They've always been a successful football club, but when you actually get into the Football League, you realise that every Wycombe Wanderers, you know, there's another 60 or 70 clubs in the nationwide league that have been around for a long, long time, and they're all trying to do what we're trying to do. Everyone's trying to win this division. We're no different. We've come a long way in a short space of time. What I would say is that it's geared to certainly get into the First Division. When you look at the clubs that are in the First Division, we can match that. We don't have the financial clout of a Burnley in our division, even a Luton, who are quite a wealthy club in that respect. There's a lot of clubs within this division. Preston are a big, big football club, and when you've got 9,000 or 10,000 people coming through the turnstile once a fortnight, it's a big financial gain for clubs like. They can afford to spend £500,000 and not really think too much about it. So we are up against some big football clubs in this division. There's going to be 3 more that come down out of the First Division next season, who themselves will want to be able to spend a few quid. It won't be easy by any stretch of the imagination. All we need to do really here is improve our away form and continue with our good home form that we've had this year. But I would like to make a serious dent in this division next season at the top end. It's all down to me now. I've had my honeymoon period, that's over. As you say, I start with a blank sheet of paper. I've got no excuses. This time next year, Alan, we're sat here, and regardless of what position we finish in, I haven't really got too many excuses next year because I've had a clean start, and it was a more difficult job than I thought when I first came into the place, but we've managed to just scrape out of trouble. But I do start with a clean sheet of paper next year. We'll start on level points. That'll be the first time ever, won't it, that I've caught everyone up. So it's down to me next year, down to me and the players, and I've been absolutely delighted with everybody this year, with the response I've had from the players and from the staff and everyone around the place. It's I can't wait to get there in the mornings. You know, I really love it here. I'm very, very happy. As I said, we just need to have a very good season next year. I like a few more cup runs, you know, serious cup runs. But Chesterfield and Wrexham and Stockport, I think those 3 in particular have given us all hope that it can be achieved if you're prepared to work hard. They've done brilliant for this division. I think they've represented us extremely well this year, and it shows you what can happen if you're prepared to work hard at it, and we'll certainly be working hard. I think July the 2nd we come back, so keep out of Wycombe Park if you're around, because we'll be working extremely hard next season, and look forward to a successful year.
Okay, John, that's fine. Well, thanks very much indeed. I know everybody will be delighted with what you've achieved in a short space of time. Good. And those of us that have the pleasure of working with you, marvellous. Well done.
Thank you.